Good morning, everybody. It is January 28th. You'd think I'd know this, like just from the day before saying everything, but no. Today's January 28th, 2016, and this is the Morning Drive talk show where I answer your questions from the day before or just talk about whatever I can possibly think of on my way to work. So let's get right to it. And you might be wondering, hey, what's in that box behind you? Well, don't you worry, I'll let you know what's in that box behind me. It would be 9 drop pods, 5 boxes of Sanguinary Guard, hang on, there's a car coming, a Lieutenant Alistair Kane Warcaster model, as well as a Sphinx Banshee chassis Warjack for Retribution. So that's what's in the box. That's pretty much all I got there. So let me get straight to answering the questions here. Let me grab my paper. So the first question I have is from Ken Hart, and that would be, I would personally love to see a Malifaux battle report. I really love the models and have debated about getting into the game, but I'm just making a turn right now, so I need to actually see what I'm doing here. But I'm not seeing any battle reports that I enjoy. I'm usually fighting off. Oh, this is where it gets. This is where it's gonna get a little bit adult rated, folks. I'm usually fighting off a bit of a Crowned Royal Haze on Saturday morning, so I'd have to catch up the replay of the killing with Quirk, unless you play some first-person shooters, and we can still all join in and shoot too, or all join in to shoot you. So, yeah, I actually am seriously considering playing Malifaux. I was at Black Knight yesterday, which is where I got this box of stuff. It's not for me; it's work stuff, but that's where we go and get stuff from. So I picked it up, made it a little bit easier, so we don't have to wait for shipping and stuff. I'll just go and pick it up myself. But I was seriously looking at the Malifaux stuff there. There was one box that I was actually really interested in getting for myself, just because I like the look of the models, and according to their playstyle, it's very... The box set was called Smoke and Mirrors. So you use Colette as your crew leader? I don't know what they're called off the top of my head. I'm sure someone's going to be like, they're called this. You should know that if you want to start playing the game, but I've only ever read through the rules once and played one game, so the names kind of escape me. I'm seriously considering it, but I want to get the Smoke and Mirrors box because I just like the idea of all these people who put on like almost like a burlesque show, but they're all tricky and they jump around the board, so I really like the idea behind that one. Small problem with that one, I'm to the fan down a bit here. Small problem with that is that I can't really play it if I don't have the box. And they had the box at Black Knight. I went to go pick it up, and someone already bought it ahead of me. So, slight problem with that. But I'm going to find it online and see if I can order it that way, because I really like the look of those models, and I want to start playing it. I do have the Dreamer, his box set. Problem with that is the only 2 models that I have painted from there are Lord Shami Bits and the Dreamer himself. And then all of his Daydreams, the Alps, and the Ood-looking dude, yes, I'm referencing Doctor Who here, are not painted, and they actually had a terrible incident with being in the back of my car and getting introduced to my laptop bag. So they're in pieces all over the place, and the pieces that they're in aren't the pieces they normally are supposed to be in. So, like the tails on all the Daydreams broke, some of the ears, some of the horns. The Alps, I'm missing one of the heads, and the one dude who looks like an Ood, it starts with a C or something like that. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but he is missing an arm. So it's one of those things that I need to find all the bits and put them back together and then start going from there. But yeah, that's kind of where my Malifaux stuff is sitting at. And yeah, I know I have the Rex battle box sitting at on my desk. I read his playstyle. It seems kind of cool. I like the Mechana Spiders, but not really my playstyle. But I might just to get some battle reports out, actually paint the rest of that setup and start playing a few games with that. The problem is that I need to actually get my hands on a camera, because this is my phone. So I need to get my hands on an actual camera and try to film something. So I think I would be okay for me to use the mini wargaming equipment. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that right now. And yes, hey, Crown Haze, yeah, I can totally respect that. I'm more of a Jack Daniels fan myself, but to each their own. But Saturday morning gaming is something I have considered actually doing. I tested it out the other night with Halo. Actually did like a live stream test, played a game, and I'm kind of upset that I didn't actually keep the recording because I did really well in that game. I ended up going like 12-3 for kills, but we were playing the zones, so it was 3 zones. Stronghold, that's what it is. We were playing that one, and we ended up winning. It was like we were down by about 50 points, and then we captured all 3 and just went on a 100-point straight spree. So I was like, this is awesome. But kind of upset I didn't get to keep the footage for that, because that would have been really cool just to put up. But something I will definitely be looking at doing this Saturday is trying to get those up. The hardest part about that is going to be me waking up on time on a Saturday to actually film it, because I like my weekends because it means I get to sleep in, and I like sleep. So that's just me. Anyway, let me get through this turn and I will read the next comment, because reading while turning is dangerous. I actually got a message from somebody who was worried that I will, if some like police get a hold of this and be like, oh, it's incriminating evidence. I'm like, yeah, that's why I started printing them off, so it's just on a piece of paper. So, okay. Next up, I have Tabletop Banter, and I have another turn coming up. So, Tabletop Banter. I've been really enjoying getting into X-Wing lately because of you and Josh. Do you foresee Josh, aka Beardo, aka Netless Josh, becoming a MWG employee? I know this is something that I'd like to see. It has come up at some point where it was like Matt and Dave were considering hiring him. I'm not sure what's the final outcome of that one. Haven't really heard anything from my end. It's not really my place to ask those kind of questions. I personally think it would be great if he started working for us, because that means it would be easier for like everybody there to actually start filming some of the specialty games, because Josh plays all the specialty games. Like, he plays Fantasy, he plays X-Wing, he plays Armada, he plays War Machine, he plays all that stuff. He actually played Infinity too, so he was just getting into that, and then everybody knows how that story ends. So I personally would think it would be, if he did start working for Mini Wargaming, it would be nothing but an improvement, but that's not my call to make. So that's kind of where we're sitting with that one. But yes, Tabletop Banter, I wholeheartedly agree that Josh would make a great addition if he got hired. So next up we have Marco M. Despot. So I hope I pronounced your last name there correctly. Anyway, hi Quirk. These Path to Glory battle reports are great. I'm watching the 8th one, and I hope you win against Dave, as you are a Halo fan who would win in a death. Oh, as you are a death. Sorry, that's a whole new sentence. As you are a Halo fan, who would win in a death battle, Master Chief or a Space Marine veteran sergeant? Drive safe. Sorry, it was the 7th game. Okay. I'm glad you're enjoying those. I enjoyed playing them and filming them. Dave is a fantastic opponent to play, and if you have not gotten a chance to come in here and play him, I most certainly recommend you do, because it is an experience. He is a energetic dude. Who would win between a Master Chief and a Space Marine? Oddly enough, I read a thing online the other day where that actually came up, and I'm upset to say I agree with it. Well, the Master Chief has a lot of weapons like available to him that would certainly assist him with taking down a Space Marine. The problem is that none of it is actually strong enough on its own or fast enough for the Master Chief to actually be able to wield it in combat with a Space Marine to crack his armor. So we would need things like the Spartan rifle, or not the Spartan rifle, the Spartan laser, or a rocket launcher, or a sniper rifle, and all these things. Yeah, you can snap fire them and hope for the best, but they're not that reliable. So if it was going down to like a rolling type system, he would basically be snap firing them. Whereas the Space Marine has access to all these other weapons, and above all of that, he has access to some crazy powerful melee weapons like a Power Fist. And because of the lore behind a Power Fist and what it can do, it would take one hit to basically kill the Master Chief. Yes, he can re-enter the Earth's atmosphere from orbit and totally survive, but it's still not strong enough to survive a Space Marine Power Fist. So in the long run, I would have to say a Space Marine would win. That's not, if I was being biased, I'd be like, oh, Master Chief all day. But going by lore and actual like factual things and stuff like that, I'd have to say a Space Marine would probably win just because of the tools that he has available to him. But leave your comment below and let me know what you guys think. If I'm right on that one, or if you think Master Chief would totally beat the crap out of a Space Marine. That's, again, this is personal opinion. I honestly think a Space Marine would win just because of what's available to him. So, next comment I have here is from... Look, it's on the other page, hang on. There we go. And it's from Matthew McGee. I hope I pronounced that right. Hey Quirk, with the 40k campaign books advancing and the timeline for certain factions, what faction timeline would you like to see go forward? I.e., Tau campaign saw the main book characters die and Wolf and Wolfen are coming back. Oh, okay. Ooh. So who would I like to see, like, advance their storyline? Part of me wants to say Orcs, but the thing is, Orcs' storyline has kind of advanced on its own, in its own way, and you've seen a couple things come from it. Like, you've got a couple new units that come out, a couple new characters, but there's nothing really major there. I would love to see them start to advance in a storyline where basically they start... I want to see looted and, like, them taking advantage of other tech. Like, everything you see right now has a Space Marine feel to it. Like, you got your Ludus, which are basically just Space Marines who are carrying las cannons, or, like, modified grav weapons. You see Deathcopters, which are their attempt at a jet bike, but in all honesty, it's a helicopter. It has a very human look to it. I would love to see a, like, vehicle tank type thing that is a skimmer, and what it really is just Orcs have taken apart a Eldar skimmer and kept the technology for that. You see that as part of their lore, because theoretically they should be able to do that. I would love to see them taking, like, Necron tech and figuring out how to use the teleporting stuff. And so you got, like, the death sights, I think is what they're called, the croissants, basically, that have the troop capacity. I would love to see an Orc version of that where it's like a flyer that can drop guys off. But the thing is, I can really see that just becoming a, well, Orcs figured out how to take the tech from a Storm Eagle. So I'm like, I would like to see Orcs kind of vary their timeline and start using the tech from other factions. Even if they got, like, marker lights, and started using those from Tau. Like, it wouldn't be the same. Obviously it wouldn't be the same, because then Orcs would suddenly become way too powerful. But just the ability to use, like, lasers, and with those lasers they can have, like, oh, what is it? I could be referring to the rules incorrectly here, and if I am, I'm sorry, but I'm going to explain it so that you kind of understand what I'm thinking of. Back in, like, the first edition with Tau, one of the things they could do, and this was, like, one of their huge things, was they could marker light something, and then another, like, battle suit that had a smart missile system that couldn't see their target could still fire the missiles at whatever was marker lighted. Now, I'm sure that's still, I don't play Tau that often, I haven't come across this very much. It's happened maybe once or twice. So I'm pretty sure that's still a thing for Tau, where you can marker light something. It's almost like how you can still do the Valencio boxes for 30k, where it's anybody who can see you with a Valencio box can be targeted by something that has, like, barrage or orbital strike. Like, you don't need line of sight for it, and it prevents the scatter from happening. So I would like to see that for Orcs, where it's like they have some sort of a radio system or, like, a laser system or something like that, and there's just a grot sitting on, like, a giant walker with a missile, and it's like, oh, we got it targeted, I know where I'm shooting, and it's just a big button, they push it, and I don't even care if you have to roll a die, there's a chance it might blow up on the actual mech, which used to be an Orc thing that used to happen. But I would love to see that happen, where there's just all this random chaos, but you can, if everything goes as planned, because Orcs are supposed to be, like, these strategic masterminds at the same time as they are just crazy barbarians. I want them to be able to have this crazy awesome strategic attack they can do, that at so many points along the timeline it can backfire, where if they roll a 1 it backfires and something happens. I want to see that. I think that would be awesome. So that's the timeline that I would like to see advance. I can't really think of any off the top of my head other than that. everybody else seems to have a pretty up-to-date timeline, but I would like to see orcs kind of progress and have stories where they interact with other Xenos races and start using their technology and seeing that actually implemented in the game. So that's me. That's what I would like to see. Next up, I have Danny Danger. I like your name, bud. It's awesome. I don't expect us to go in. Sorry, I didn't expect such an in-depth answer on the Primarch question. Thanks. Also, I hold you personally responsible for me starting X-Wing. Do you have any tips for someone just starting out? No problem on the Primarch thing. I'm going to give you the most detailed answer I possibly can. I have a long drive to work and time to talk. Starting on X-Wing, what would I recommend? Honestly, this is going to sound really bad on my part, but netlist. Go online and look at the top meta lists, because these are going to be the lists that you come across the most often, because a lot of people will end up doing this in the long run anyway. I know I've done it a couple times, and I've played a lot of people who do something very similar to it. But go online, read the net lists, and then read people's counters to those net lists, because what I'm noticing a lot more is that you get the people who went to like nationals and world champions, and these are the lists they brought. They brought Fat Han, they brought Durst, they brought, or not Durst, Dash, they brought TIE Spams, they brought the Devastator, they brought all these ships that have crazy loadouts which make them just ridiculous on their own. Ooh, sorry there, bud. And then they go and win tournaments. So then people start coming out with all these counters for it. So you've got like, well, someone brought Fat Han. Well, here's a bunch of counters because all my ships have these heavy weapons that make it really hard for you to just consistently dodge, or it guarantees damage. Like, it's all this other stuff to it. So I would honestly recommend doing that and looking at the counters. Find the counter that you think would be really cool, but also has a very strong playstyle. Like one that I am a huge fan of using is Chewbacca and 2 B-Wings. Mainly because Chewbacca is resilient. He is so tanky. Because anytime he gets flipped a face-up damage card, you immediately flip it face down. The only time he can actually take the effect of a damage card is from things like Sabotage or Saboteur, or whatever, whichever one it is, where basically you have to roll a die and flip the card face up, as well as Bosch's ability, I think is which one it is. There's another one where basically it flips the damage card face up. So it's really difficult to get crits on Chewbacca. And then you've also got the B-Wings, and you just give them the that was a lot of slush. I believe it's the advanced sensor. I want to go with advanced sensor, but I could be wrong on that one. But basically what it does is it lets you perform an action before you perform your maneuver. And since B-Wings already have a B-roll available to them, they're able to do a barrel roll before revealing their maneuver. Now, B-Wings aren't very maneuverable on their own. They have a lot of stuff that actually is stressful to them. It's a red maneuver. So with the ability to do a barrel roll before executing your maneuver, it makes them suddenly become incredibly maneuverable, and just the amount of firepower that they can dish out is disgusting and scary. So again, I would say look online, see what lists you think you can play, which ones fit into your playstyle, because there are a lot. There's some people who like to play very defensive and just have like a crazy battle like ship. There's other people who like to run spams. There's other people who like to run like supports where everything builds off of each other. And then it also just depends on what you're playing. If you're playing Rebels, if you're playing Scum, if you're playing Imperial, it really comes down to figure out whichever one you like on your own that fits your playstyle, but take the advantage that we have right now with the internet and figure out what mistakes other people have made so that you don't make them. So that's my advice that I can give for that one. But yeah, hopefully that works for you, Danny. Next up we have Brad. Hey Brad, hopefully you are enjoying Eternal Crusade, because yeah, you totally got that code. If it's not working, message me on Facebook and we'll figure out what's going on, because you have me on the Mini Wargamer Quirk Facebook page. Enjoying the drive-in talks. I don't work until noon, so I can hang out and watch all morning. Anyway, top 5 bands and why. This is where I suddenly lose a lot of subscribers. One of my favorite vans is the Volkswagen. No, I'm just kidding. One of my favorite bands is actually Nickelback. Oh, sorry. There is a reason for that. At one point, Chad Kroeger was actually interviewed, and the question came up, what made you so successful? And he said, well, I was talking to Phil, in the singer's name, because I can't remember the guy's name, and he said, if you ever want to have a successful album, make sure one of your songs, or at least like one of your songs on every album, can be played in a strip club. And I thought that was hilarious and ridiculous and whatever. And then I looked at every song on his album, and yeah, there's at least one song on every album that I could totally see being played in a strip club. So I thought that was absolutely awesome, and yeah, I still like their music. I hate Chad Kroeger personally, because he seems kind of jerkish, but that's about, yeah. Anyway, also a fan of Johnny Cash, not a band, more an artist, but still, I'm a fan of him. I also like, I'm trying to turn into the parking lot here while I'm thinking of this. Guns N' Roses, I was a fan of until Slash left. Then I tried to become a fan of Velvet Revolver and couldn't do it. There's three more modern. I'm actually a fan of, not really an artist, but just somebody on YouTube. I'm a fan of Nightcore, just because they actually do some really cool auto-tune type stuff. And the last one, can't think of anything off the top of my head. It changes, honestly. My top 5 change all the time. So, but that's all the time I have today for comments. You guys left me quite a few, so I will try and pick up where I left off tomorrow. I've at least got 4 more comments, but I am at work. I do have to get some stuff done today, guys. Hopefully you enjoy this morning drive. As always, if you want your questions answered, leave a comment below and I will answer them as best I can on my drive into work. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get notified when my morning drives are posted, because I post them daily. And also look forward to a Saturday morning gaming thing potentially happening this Saturday if I can get all the tech working properly. If not, I'll let you know on Friday, because I'm going to test it out tonight. And otherwise, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos, go to meanwargaming.com. But don't forget to like, share, comment, and I will see you all tomorrow.